There's a Nintendo villain that feels off. Not because she's scary, not because she's nearly remotely powerful, but because something about her just looks wrong. You probably remember her as the weird one, the Spider Girl. The creepy, unsettling villain. But what if I told you that Mimi doesn't just looks wrong, she's wrong by design. And once you see it, you probably can't unsee it. Quick disclaimer before we start. Everything in this video is based on in-game scenes, the provided storytelling for what I have in the game, and my own theories and interpretations. You can always disagree. But Nintendo never directly explains Mimi. But that silence is exactly what makes her so unsettling. We could all assume the same thing about Mimi. She was human once. She got corrupted. She transformed into a monster. That assumption feels natural. She talks like a person. She dresses like one. She mimics emotion. But here's the thing. The game never really says she was human. Or at least, I don't think. There's not really any flashbacks. No tragic past. Or no moment where something goes truly wrong, quote unquote. You really just meet her, already pretending. And that's where the discomfort starts. Now, I want you to look closely at Mimi's normal form. Just take a look at it. Her proportions are slightly off. Her movements are somewhat stiff. And even her expressions, which, in my opinion, don't flow very naturally. She doesn't feel alive. She mostly feels assembled. Kinda like how she studied people to act as if, and copied it just well enough to pass. Her design isn't really friendly or neutral, or at least from like a general proportional perspective. It's sort of uncanny, but I feel like that's kind of intentional. Because Mimi isn't meant to look human. She's meant to look like something that's trying to be. Now, let's talk about the scenes that truly reveal Mimi. The spider transformations in chapters 2-4 and 8-2. Now, these aren't dramatic anime style transformations. They're sudden, mostly awkward, and almost uncomfortable to watch. Her body doesn't change smoothly. It breaks. Limbs snap into place. Her form distorts unnaturally. The animations feel wrong on purpose. This isn't a human losing control. This is mostly a disguise that is failing to hold together. And what makes these scenes so terrifying is how matter of fact they are. No scream, no shock, no realization, just exposure. Mimi isn't necessarily becoming a monster here, even though she already is. She's being revealed. Her true form, that is. With her true form being a spider, Mimi is not a normal person altogether. Here's the thing that completely changes as to how you should see Mimi. Her true form isn't symbolic. It isn't metaphorical. It's literal. Mimi is a spider. Or, as shown in Chapter 2-4, a robotic spider. Not a cursed human. Not a transformed person. And not really a victim of magic gone wrong. A robotic spider pretending to be a human. And once you accept that, everything about her behavior starts to make sense. Because spiders don't feel empathy. They don't feel guilt. They don't process fear or compassion, or at least the way us humans do. Instead, they hunt, they trap, and they wait. And that's kind of how exactly Mimi operates. She lures Mario and company with friendliness. She sets traps instead of confronting them directly. And she watches from the background and strikes when it's most convenient. That isn't moodiness. That's predatory mimicry. Her human form isn't who she truly is. It's bait. And the reason Mimi feels so disturbing isn't because she's evil. It's because she's acting out a role meant for something that was never supposed to be. A normal person. And now, here's what I like to call Mimi's so-called redemption. In Chapter 2-3, Mimi gets what she truly wants by punishing Mario and Peach. And how are they punished? By being enslaved, forced to run around endlessly on a hamster wheel in Merle's mansion, powering the place like an object. Think about how disturbing that is. The game doesn't frames this as tragic. It frames it as appropriate because Mimi doesn't treat them like fallen people who deserve forgiveness. They are treated like powerless slaves that need to be contained. And to me, it is Mimi's so-called redemption. And by redemption, I mostly mean containment. And it reinforces the idea that Mimi was never meant to be a normal, regular being in the world. Nintendo disguises Mimi as mostly adorable. That being bright colors, over the top dialogue, absurd situations. But that contrast is what makes her unsettling. Mimi represents something deeply uncomfortable. A being that almost looks human, but fundamentally isn't. She exists in the uncanny valley on purpose, and to me, that's what makes her more disturbing than villains who openly embrace evil. Mimi looks wrong because she is wrong. Not broken. Not corrupted. Not tragic. She's a creature wearing a costume. Or costumes, if you count the number of disguises she wears throughout the game. Because once you understand Mimi, you realize the scariest thing about her isn't what she turns into. It's what she was the entire time, which is someone who just feels completely off. So, what do you think? Was Mimi ever human? Or was her disguises the point all along? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your take, even if you disagree on mine. If you like deep dives like this one, please make sure to subscribe. It greatly helps out the channel and gives me much needed support. I want to start out 2026 strong for you guys, and also giving you potentially good content such as this one. And if you like it, it'll definitely be enough to push me through and motivate me as to what's coming ahead. There will be more polls down the line. Make sure to look for the next villain breakdown poll I've got coming for you guys. Please be sure to join the Discord if you want to hang out, stay up to date for future notifications, or just talking about the Paper Mario series in general. We're definitely looking forward to seeing you over there. Also, be sure to follow my Blue Sky as well. Again, much appreciated if you followed. Links in the description below. And with that, we've only just begun exploring the Paperverse in 2026.